Now, proponents of the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline between Germany and Russia hope that Joe Biden will make life easier for them. But they could be mistaken. Now, the US opposes the 1,200-kilometer pipeline, and it's threatened to impose sanctions on companies involved in the project, which is nearly finished. Washington says Nord Stream 2 will make Europe more dependent on Russian gas deliveries, and it will allow Russia to cut off supplies to countries like Ukraine. Now, Biden's team has already spoken out against the project, saying President Biden will seek to strengthen Europe's energy independence, but he will continue to impose or oppose Nord Stream 2 as a fundamentally bad deal for Europe. Well, for more, let's bring in Benjamin Schmidt. He's a former European Energy Security Advisor at the US Department of State, and he's a postdoctorate fellow at Harvard University. Good to have you with us on this program. So please, can you explain to us why is Washington so worried about Europe's energy security?
Well, good early morning, Monica. It's great to be on Deutsche Welle, as always. I'm glad that you had the Belt and Road Initiative from China as a lead into this story, because really there's a lot of synergies between what Russia does with vis-a-vis energy infrastructure deals like Nord Stream 2 and what China is doing with critical infrastructure around the world. It's not debt trap diplomacy when it comes to Moscow, but it is influence projection. And the U.S. is indeed concerned with Europe's energy security because it's fundamental to the national security of our closest allies. This speaks directly to those concerns with Nord Stream 2, since if it was completed, it would hurt both the economic and strategic stability of Ukraine. It flies in the face of the European Energy Union's own concept on diversification away from Russian energy resources. And I think more concerning in the past few years has been the fact that it provides a platform for Russian malign influence, strategic corruption, and elite capture across the West. And the truth of the matter is, it's not just the concerns from the United States, but many others across the European continent, not just Poland and Ukraine, but the United Kingdom, Canada, Sweden, and Denmark have also spoken out.
And of course, also within
the United States.
Also within the EU, there are sort of different views on that. Granted, nevertheless, it is somewhat weird that one big nation tells a whole bloc of 27 member states what to do. I mean, how would Washington react if the EU turned around and say, listen, guys, we don't like the way you do fracking or look for oil in Alaska? How would that go down?
I mean, I think there is a lot of concerns with the way that we do fracking and look for oil in Alaska. Those are legitimate, and those are things that we should be talking about. But when it comes to Nord Stream 2, there's really national security concerns that are fundamental to both the U.S. and across the EU. And many in Washington continue to hope that Berlin will ultimately just reject Nord Stream 2 on these grounds, because the last time I was on Deutsche Welle, what we were talking about just a few weeks ago was that Germany itself was on the precipice of rejecting the project because of the Kremlin opposition leader Navalny's poisoning.
Right. I mean, I know there was a lot of debate here, but so far Berlin is holding on to the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. And just briefly, if you would, I mean, how does this bode for, well, hopefully new relations between Europe, between Germany and the United States under a Biden administration?
That's a great question. First of all, we have to remember that opposition to Nord Stream 2 is bipartisan. It's not tied to Mr. Trump, has been the case of a lot of Nord Stream 2 proponents trying to make this a Trump issue, a guilt by association issue. Of course, the detrimental policies of Mr. Trump, including the withdrawal of troops stationed in Germany, trade proposals that were damaging, those all, I believe, will go away because they've been very unpopular among leaders of both parties in Washington. But when it comes to Nord Stream 2, at its core, it's a national security issue.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Benjamin Schmidt. And as you mentioned earlier, for you, it is a very, very early morning, a very early start to the day. So thank you for making time for us. Benjamin Schmidt, there, postdoctoral fellow at Harvard University, former European Energy Security Advisor at the US Department of State. Thank you.
Vielen Dank.